Northwest Nigeria. Origin, power, struggle, and identity. The northwestern geopolitical zone of Nigeria, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara, is one of the oldest centers of organized civilization in sub-Saharan Africa. It is the cradle of Hausa civilization and later the political heart of the Sokoto Caliphate, one of the largest empires in African history. 1. Historical timeline, from origin to present. Before 1000 AD, early settlements. Indigenous communities formed agrarian and pastoral societies across the Sahel. Early Hausa-speaking groups began forming organized settlements. 1000 to 1500 AD, rise of Hausa civilization. Emergence of the Hausa Bakwai, Dora, Kano, Katsina, Zazau, Zaria, Gobir, Rano, Biram, growth of trans-Saharan trade linking the region to North Africa. Though Islam introduced gradually through trade and scholars, the famous Bayajidda story symbolizes the cultural origin of Hausa identity. 1500 to 1800 AD, Golden Age and rivalries. Kano and Katsina became major centers of commerce and Islamic scholarship. Frequent wars among Hausa states weakened political unity. Rise of powerful figures like Queen Amina, who expanded Zazau's influence. 1804 to 1903, the Jihad and Caliphate era. Islamic reform movement led by Usman dan Fodio. Establishment of the Sokoto Caliphate, uniting most of Hausaland. Creation of a structured emirate system governed by Islamic law. 1903 to 1960, colonial rule. British conquest under Frederick Lugard. Introduction of indirect rule, preserving emirate authority but under colonial control. 1960 to present, modern Nigeria region becomes core of northern Nigerian politics. Rise of leaders like Ahmadu Bello Aminu Kano. Present challenges, banditry and insecurity, poverty and education gaps. Environmental pressure, desertification. 2. What unites northwest Nigeria? 1. Religion, predominantly Muslim population, spiritual leadership under the Sultan of Sokoto, Sakin Musulmi. 2. Language and culture, Hausa language as a lingua franca across West Africa. Deep blend of Hausa and Fulani traditions. 3. Political heritage, shared legacy of Hausa kingdoms, Sokoto Caliphate. Emirate system, still influential today. 4. Economic pattern agriculture, millet, sorghum, rice, livestock, Fulani pastoralism, trade, historically and presently. 3. Greatest struggles, then and now, pre-colonial conflicts. Constant wars between Kano, in Katsina, Gobir weakened the region. Jihad and transformation, religious revolution disrupted old order but created unity. Colonial disruption, loss of sovereignty after 1903 conquest. Modern crisis, armed banditry, Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, rural insecurity and displacement, poverty and Almajiri system, challenges 4. State-by-state historical breakdown. Kano State founded approximately 999 AD, economic powerhouse of Hausaland. Famous for dye pits, trans-Saharan trade. Often called the commercial capital of the north, Katsina State. Intellectual hub of early Islam in West Africa, home of ancient Islamic schools and Gobarau minaret. Major trade link to Sahara Kaduna State, colonial administrative center of northern Nigeria, political nerve center, home of Ahmadu Bello Sokoto, state seat of the Sokoto Caliphate, spiritual headquarters of Nigerian Muslims. Founded by Muhammadu Bello, Kebbi State, ancient Kebbi Kingdom. Rival to Songhai and Sokoto. Known for Argungu Fishing Festival, strong agricultural identity, Zamfara State, one of the Banza Bakwai states historically affected by slave raids. Rich in gold but plagued by insecurity. Today, Jigawa State former part. E of Kano Emirate, created 1991, strong in agriculture and traditional crafts, important in regional trade routes. 5. What makes them different? State unique identity, Kano commercial and population giant, Katsina. Intellectual and Islamic Scholarship Center, Kaduna Political and Administrative Hub. Sokoto Spiritual Authority of Islam, Kebbi Cultural Heritage and Agriculture. Zamfara Mineral Wealth, Gold, plus Insecurity Hotspot, Jigawa Quiet Agrarian and Craft Economy. Despite unity, each state has distinct historical roles and strengths. 6. Mineral and natural resources, gold, Zamfara, Kebbi, Kaduna limestone, Sokoto clay and kaolin, Katsina, Jigawa granite and quartz, Kaduna gypsum and salt deposits. Scattered areas, many resources remain underdeveloped but globally valuable. 7. The notable figures from the region. Usman dan Fodio, founder of the Caliphate. Ahmadu Bello, Premier of Northern Nigeria. Aminu Kano, voice of the common people. Ahmadu Bello, builder of Sokoto. Abubakar Mahmud Gumi, religious reformer. Queen Amina, military expansionist. Legend. 8. What the world should know. 1. It was a global trade power. Northwest Nigeria was a major link between Africa and the Arab world, long before colonialism. 2. One of Africa's largest empires emerged here. The Sokoto Caliphate was one of the largest pre-colonial states in Africa. 3. Hausa language is international. Hausa is spoken across Nigeria, Niger, Ghana, Cameroon. It is one of Africa's most influential languages. 4. Deep intellectual tradition. Cities like Kano and Katsina were centers of Islamic law, literature, astronomy, philosophy. 5. Hausa region of contrast. Northwest Nigeria is historically powerful yet currently struggling, resource-rich yet economically challenged, culturally unified yet politically complex. Final summary: Northwestern Nigeria is a region defined by ancient civilization, religious and political transformation, strong cultural unity, enduring resilience. From the legend of Bayajidda to the rise of the Sokoto Caliphate and into today's challenges, it remains one of the most historically significant regions in Africa. 9. Insurgency in northwest Nigeria, causes, origin, effects, and solutions. Origin of the insurgency. Unlike the ideological insurgency seen in northeast Nigeria, insecurity in the northwest largely evolved from rural banditry and armed criminal networks. Early roots trace back to farmer-herder conflicts over land and water, collapse of traditional grazing systems, weak rural governance and policing. Over time, these groups became heavily armed, formed organized camps in forests, for example, Rugu, Kamuku, transitioned into kidnapping and mass violence. Major causes. 1. Resource competition, climate change and desertification pushed herders southward. Increased clashes with farming communities. 2. Poverty and youth unemployment, large population of idle youth vulnerable to recruitment, lack of economic opportunities. 3. Weak state presence, limited security coverage in rural areas, poor intelligence and response systems. 4. Proliferation of small arms, weapons flow from Sahel conflicts, Libya, Mali. Easy access to illegal firearms. 5. Illegal mining, especially gold in Zamfara. Armed groups fund operations through illegal mining, competition over mineral control, fuels, violence. 6. Breakdown of traditional authority. Emirate and local systems weakened in conflict zones. Loss of conflict resolution structures. Effects on the region, humanitarian crisis. Thousands killed, massive displacement of rural communities. Agricultural collapse, farmers abandon lands. Food insecurity increases, economic decline, trade routes, disrupted local economies, weakened education, disruption, school closures, and mass kidnappings, rise in out-of-school children, social breakdown, erosion of trust between communities, ethnic and occupational tensions, farmer versus herder, possible solutions. Strengthening security architecture. More local policing and intelligence gathering, forest surveillance and military operations. 2. economic empowerment, job creation for youth, investment in agriculture and rural industries. 3. Grazing and land reforms, modern ranching systems, clear land use policies to reduce conflict. 4. Regulation of mining, formalizing mining sector, cutting off funding sources for armed groups. 5. Education reform, addressing the Almajiri system, expanding access to formal and vocational education. 6. Community dialogue and traditional institutions, reviving roles of emirs and local leaders, peace building between farmers and herders. 7. A regional cooperation collaboration with Niger and Sahel countries, border control and arms trafficking prevention. Final insight. The insurgency in northwestern Nigeria is not just a security problem, it is a complex mix of history, environment, economy, and governance. Lasting peace will only come through a balanced approach: security plus development, plus justice, plus community trust. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share this video to 1 or 2 persons so that they too can learn. Also, it will be of great satisfaction if you can subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button so that you can have access to other rich Nigerian cultural, traditional, historical heritage. Thank you very much and see you in our next video. I'm sure you don't want to miss out. Bye.